Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary people, you are in for a treat because we have in our midst Onyeka, a most colorful, larger-than-life personality. I have had the pleasure of immersing myself in this fascinating book the last few days. Welcome, Onyeka.
Thank you.
I am very, very curious. Let's start with the real owners of Britain. Why the title?
Thank you so much. The most amazing name I have ever seen written, PP, Parajuly. The real owners of Britain. And welcome to our section. I'm really happy to see every face here. The title, The Real Owners of Britain, was inspired by an incident that happened at the airport where my assistant who was coming into England was sent back to Ghana, where he was coming from, by an immigration officer, an entry clearance officer who happened to have come from Pakistan. So I said, who is in charge of this country? Who is the real Briton? Because when you come to Britain, or before you come, your visa application is assessed by someone that might even come from your village. And if it's refused, that means he doesn't want you in Britain. And now we've had series of home secretaries, maybe a few home secretaries in Britain who come from there to Britain. And suddenly, these people do not want to see people who look like them.
Wow. The first few pages of the book, Onyeka, where you talk about the immigration authorities in the UK having all the power in the world, resonated greatly with me because I'm one of those people who've still clung to their Indian passport. Which is, India is a lovely country to belong to, but an Indian passport is a pretty useless passport. Could you talk a bit about your experience? I think you mentioned in the book, there are a few sentences in the book about your showing up at immigration desks with a battery of pills in order to, talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so some of these immigration officers can be compassionate. So you sometimes have to take advantage of their compassion. Several times, I'm not saying Britain is a bad place, because if it's a bad place, I won't be living there. Right, so you have immigration officers that you will explain things to, see, oh, this is my condition, this is why these things are happening, and they'll be, okay, no problem, come in. So for the most part of 2018, I was in wheelchair for about 3 months. I was involved in an accident that messed up my spine. So I was in hospital in Johannesburg for a long time, and I was in wheelchair. But it was then that I realized that some of the things the immigration officers do are intentional. So when they see people who need humanitarian help, they don't overlook that. They actually come to you with your passport. Instead of you going over to do thumbprint and scan your face, they come over and say, are you feeling okay? Are you good? Bam, and you're passed. So I said, most times misfortune can actually be fortune. Some of them require you to, be real about it. You have medical history. You need to show them the documents as well. But I realized that decisions made on visa applications could be based on biases and, I don't want this guy in this country, but he's sick, let him come in, he'll get better here. So I've never been treated badly by British immigration, never. In fact, there was a situation where I had to change visa overnight, and it was done in 48 hours by them, based on humanitarian ground. The Americans as well. I needed visa to go to the US, and I wrote to the American embassy in London, and I said, hey, this is my situation. My father died, and I need to go for funeral. And the ambassador forwards my information to the visa section, and they say, okay, come Monday. And I come Monday, they take my passport and they say, your visa has been approved, you can travel. Yeah, so some of them are not really bad, but the experience my assistant had was what triggered and inspired the book title.
Excellent. Now, The Real Owners of Britain is a non-fiction book. I am dying for the audience here to know what your forthcoming book is. I received a copy of the cover by email yesterday. It is called The Fifth Night at Diggy Palace. Tell us all about it. Yeah.
I've been coming to Jaipur Literature Festival since 2010. In fact, today, a picture I took with Mr. William Darimpo showed up on my Google Drive and reminded me it was taken on this day in 2015. I have stayed in Diggy Palace, and I think it's an exotic place to stay.
Sure.
I think it's a beautiful hotel with a heritage, long-standing history. So I thought, okay, last year during my section here, the owners of Diggy Palace came for my section without me inviting them.
Oh, wow.
And when I finished, they came to me, they said, when are you going to write about Diggy Palace? And I said to them, I have a novel set in your hotel. And it will be out very soon, and I'm done. My editor is Indian. She's done with the editing. It should be out. Hopefully, I will launch it at Jaipur next year. But the story is the story of the Siddi community in India, Africans who came from Africa to Barahat in 800 years ago, and with the Portuguese and the rest of them as business people through the routes that led them from East Africa to India. It's also the story of a Siddi educated man who doesn't think Indians see him as an Indian because of the texture of his hair, the color of his skin, because they look exactly like me. And he's a writer, so he kidnaps a British publisher who has come for Jaipur Literature Festival, and an Indian literary agent. He locks them up in a room and he says if they don't sign him, he's never going to let them go. So the Jaipur police has to come in, and then we'll find out what happens next year.
Yeah, well, you'll all have to buy copies of that book in order to find out what happens next. Wow, and of course, the novel was inspired by the Jaipur Literature Festival.
Yes.
Which, what about the Jaipur Literature Festival strikes you so much? Why is it so important to you?
I try not to sound patronizing to India, but this is a country I came to when I was 18. I was 18 years old. My age mates were going to universities and trying to live the lives their parents wanted them to live. So I told my father that I wanted to go to India. And what my uncles told him that, oh, he's mad. So don't waste your money on him. But now, those my uncles are the ones who have regrets, who think, oh, our children should have even done what he did. Because I came to this country and then I wrote the Abyssinian Boy, which was widely accepted. People like Mam Shabadi helped me promote the book, and thank you so much. You have done so well for me. She talked about it, and you know the kind of followership she has. So the Abyssinian Boy was what opened the doors for me. And as I was talking to David Godwin just an hour ago, I told him, I think I should just keep writing stories about India from an African perspective because nobody's doing that.
No one's doing that.
Yeah. Indians are very curious people. They want to know, who is this guy? Why is he dressed this way? Why is his hair like this? Why is he wearing rings? So I've taken more than 100,000 pictures since I came. And I know that if I have books based on India, they're going to sell out. Because the ones here, I'm sure they have sold out already.
All right, yeah, curiosity and fan following. I see that your fan following has actually quickly filled up this tent. It was not as full when we started. Onyeka, I've been very, very curious about this. I have I encountered you as a phenomenon 3 days ago, waltzing into the author's lounge, um, uh, and before long, all eyes were on you. But then I've gotten to talk to you. I've talked to other people who know you, who have become friends with you over the years. And there's something about you that is tremendously likable, which I think lends itself to a career in politics. Has that ever been on the agenda? Will we see you as a Nigerian ambassador or a minister at some point in our lives?
Strangely, I'm actually representing Haiti as an honorary consul of Haiti to Anglophone West Africa, Ghana, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Nigeria, yeah. But also, I was supposed to run for Senate in Nigeria this year, but my age disqualified me. I'm going to be
What is the age you need to be to run for Senate?
35, so I'm going to only be 35 by 31st of January. So I didn't want to falsify my age to be able, like other Nigerian politicians falsify their age, all of them. But I just think I should wait, but I'm still going to be a Nigerian senator.
All right, you are. You wear several hats. You are an academic. You're affiliated to both Oxford and Cambridge?
Yes.
Okay. What do you are a visiting scholar?
A visiting scholar at Cambridge and academic visitor at Oxford, where I organized the James Corey Literary Festival.
Excellent, excellent. And so do you feel yourself pulled in various directions? You're writing, you're churning out book after book after book. You have quite a presence on social media, and you are an academic. What is in the near future for you? Which of these roles will win over, or will they continue to coexist?
Yeah, they will coexist. I'm also a filmmaker. In fact,
wow.
the title of our talk is taken from my biopic of a man called Emeka Ojukwu, who started the civil war in Nigeria, who led the Biafrans away from Nigeria. I made a biopic of him, which will be out in a few months. I don't think that I'm incapable of anything, which is why I try to try everything. Yeah, I'm not perfect. My books are not the perfect book, and I haven't seen the perfect book yet. My films are not the perfect films, but they get to be nominated for awards and they win awards. I've been called pseudo-intellectual by Nigerians who are angry that I'm at Cambridge and Oxford at the same time, and they're asking, how did he do that? Okay. Yeah, but because I don't have to tell them how I did it, so I'm called pseudo-intellectual, because I don't use verbose English. And the way I tweet as well, I don't want to tweet like I'm writing, like the writing of Wole Soyinka or William Shakespeare, with the colorful display of English words to confuse people. So I'm told that I'm just lucky. I'm just a lucky bastard who just found his way somewhere. Yeah, but these people tend not to understand that there are people who really work hard, and there are different paths to the stream. If you go to a village, yeah, there are different ways to get to the village stream. Yep. There is no particular way. So there are ways others get to Oxford. I didn't go to Oxford that way at all. Okay. I didn't need to show them my CV to get to Oxford. Okay. They already saw the works I've produced.
Well, since this is a literature festival after all, and we have been talking books, I would love for you to read a short extract from The Real Owners of Britain to give the audience here a taste of what they're getting into.
Okay, I'll be very fast.
All right.
Okay, so I'm reading from the what I call the opening note.
Okay.
Money is power. When you have power, it can be intoxicating. That is why the power gatekeepers that money spawn like to delight in the breath of infallibility. But when powerful people are dragooned to their knees, it is always disastrous. Let's think of Harvey Weinstein, who was the executive producer of almost every film you could find on Netflix when they started. He provided them with all sorts of movie contents, as you would imagine. Still, and all when his time was up, his fall was deep, steep, and tragic. Harvey had the money, so he had the power. Money is magnetic. It brings close to you the wrong people. As you have the money, you have the power. There are many people hanging around to demystify you and wring that power away from you for themselves. Every powerful person has someone willing to take him out. In the cycle of the powerful, it is the least powerful that wants to usurp all the powers. They stay strategically placing themselves where they can take over. The real owners of Britain are not the real Britons. The real owners of Britain are people whose ancestors came to Britain a long time ago. They now have mastered the channels to get to where they want, and when they do, they no longer want others who look like them to come in. Just like the poor who, on becoming rich, will leave their poor neighborhood and move into a wealthy one and protect themselves from the poor whom they had left behind. Here are the dynamics of money and how money translates to wealth and rips your heart apart. This is the same about how people buckle and control narratives. They want people to see the world the way they see it and live by the rules created by them.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Onyeka. You know, you have spoken about bringing an African perspective on India. You and I have spoken about, you've spoken about the generosity of Indians, the curiosity of Indians. What do you think we in India are doing well and doing badly right now?
No, I have no moral ground to say any of that. Not at all. Imagine a country where you have to travel from, I think it's 6 hours from Delhi to Manipur in Northeast.
Yeah. Oh, in case I didn't mention it earlier, you were also affiliated, you were doing a PhD from Manipur University.
No, I teach there now.
Oh, you teach there now?
African
Okay,
studies.
yeah.
It's about that long journey. So a country with so much diversity, so much distance from each other, diversity in weather, diversity in skin color and everything. I think it's really is a big deal for one person to be the Prime Minister of India. And then you want someone like me to say what should work and what is not working. I don't think it's possible. This is a country with all kinds of people. You can't.
No, but I'm sure we're curious about your perspectives here.
No. I come from a country that is not working. So how dare do I come to tell India how India should function?
Well, which maybe will make you an expert on what doesn't work in a country.
Okay, India has publishing houses. Nigeria doesn't.
Okay, that's a good one.
Indians have literary agents in India. Nigeria doesn't have.
Okay. All right.
So many things. Every state in India has a literary festival. Nigeria has probably 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, like almost every city in India has now been tainted by a literary festival.
So every writer in India has an opportunity to be showcased somewhere. And which is why I've been running to India for a long time, but Indians don't even understand.
Thank you. Maybe we in the writing and publishing world in India need to be reminded of that every so often. We have a vibrant publishing scene, a vibrant literary scene. Yeah, well, thank you for that. Onyeka will be signing copies of his book, this one and many others, in the author signing tent right there. Copies of his book will be available at the bookstore. We have about 9 minutes now, and I know there are plenty of people in the audience wanting a piece of you. So if a volunteer wants to, I think, The lady in yellow has a question. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for your reading. Have I misunderstood? Are you in defense of Harvey Weinstein?
No, 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 no.
Oh.
I was just saying that he had so much power that he misused. Yeah, no. Oh, no way.
All right, that's good. That's good. Okay. Yeah.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm curious about. Sorry? Stand. I'm curious to know about experiences of anti-blackness you've witnessed in India.
Okay, one thing, I don't use the term black. I'm not even black.
Okay.
So I wouldn't answer.
Okay. So
Yeah.
are you post-racial?
No, I call myself an African.
All
I mean, there are, your skin color and mine are the same. Do you call yourself black? No. So this is the problem I have with those who want to colorize me. And it started in Oxford by an idiot called Johannes Galandia, who made the Moors and some Africans and decided to call them black. One, they call Africans black everywhere, and then they call the Indians Indians. They call the Chinese Chinese. They call the Japanese Japanese. Why are we the only ones they call black people? Because the color, even in Hinduism, the color black brings misfortune, is inauspicious. In Voodooism, which I practice, the same, the voodoo practitioners and the Orisha worshippers don't wear black to the temples because it brings misfortune and it means rejection, dejection. Everything that is bad is illegal, is black. So I tend not to use the word black to describe my people.
No, that was very eloquent, but it still does not answer the lady's question.
Yeah,
I
no,
wanna
because
know-
when I was in Kerala,
yeah.
I remember feeling at home. When I was being called Kalubanda was when I didn't speak Hindi in Delhi. But once I learned Hindi and you call me anything, I respond in Hindi, you stop and move on. So I think all these things is just people trying to know if you understand what they are saying. I'm not sure anti-black, I don't know what that means really.
I mean, maybe it's coming from my US perspective.
Yes,
sure.
I totally understand, which is
But-
one of the reasons why I left the US.
Good for you, so did I.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's colorism, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's so entrenched in Indian society. That's where my question was.
No,
coming from.
the Europeans and Britons are not as stubborn as Americans. Americans will, even African Americans will tell you, oh no, black is beautiful. And then you still ask them, what's the color of your skin? It's still not black, but the African Americans will tell you, I'm cool with black. Because, let's not go there, please.
Okay.
Let's not
okay.
go there.
No, no. If that was perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the American politics is different from the world global politics.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Do we have one more question in the audience? Yeah, there's someone out there. Yeah.
So, as a visitor to India, how has Indian cuisine gone with you?
I'm not a visitor to India. I've been coming to India since I was 18. That's since 2016. Now, how many years? Anybody could have become a citizen of any country. Yeah, so I write about Indian food. I eat Indian food. There is nothing strange about India to me anymore. Yeah. Ye mera India.
There's one question there.
Okay.
All right. As a fan of your work, I'm very curious to ask, how do you? Because you have strong opinions about a lot of things, and you are not very shy to say them. So, what is your thought process like? How do you come up with ideas? Like what you just said about anti-blackness as a response to the gentle lady here. I find it fascinating. It's obviously controversial, as you know, but it's an interesting perspective. So can you just give us an insight into how you think, what your thought process is like?
Okay, thank you, my big brother. This Chigozoyo Bioma. I have a medical condition which I was diagnosed of. They said my brain runs faster than normal. So I was placed on medication, lithium carbonate and risperidone, and it made me a zombie for a while. I couldn't think. So when I stopped using it, when I stopped depending on it, my thoughts run like this. So most times, I say things and then regret them. Yeah, so I just have to record everything that I'm thinking of, and which is why most people say, oh, how does he even write? He's writing every day. He's updating his Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, because the machine is running. So I don't know how to control it without medication. So sometimes my opinions change too. It could change in 24 hours, 48 hours, in the next 1 year, 5 years. But I try not to blame another person for what I take responsibility for anything that I say. And I don't tend to I don't apologize easily. Yeah. So if you can't take it, leave it.
Does that answer your question? Yeah, I'm also curious. What's your actual writing process like? Do you write every day? Do you write slowly and edit fast? How do you do your writing?
I write every day.
You write every day.
Yes. And I have a note. I write longhand.
Okay. There's someone in the audience here who writes 2,500 words a day, every day.
She.
Yeah. Are you one of those people?
No, she's my inspiration for that.
Of course, she's your
Yeah,
inspiration.
so I was wondering, say, her new book was out on January 17th. I said,
Well, I'm not a big fan of people like you. People who write every day, write 2,500 words a day. That's crazy. But carry on.
Yeah, I think you can be disciplined to do that. But I don't think Professor Chigozie would write that way, because his books are usually 700 pages and,
All right. Okay.
and that. But I tend to go in the direction of what we call African Writers Series. In the 60s, when people like Chino Achebe and Wole Soyinka, they had 177 pages, 140, 89 pages. Then when they call you, they say, oh, he's an author of 30 books.
All right.
Sounds exotic. But if I'm going to write 700 pages, that's going to take... There's a book I started writing in 2009. It's about Haiti and Dominican Republic, about voodoo. And it's 700 pages. That's the first book I'm ever going to take about 12 years to write, ever in my life. And then it has passed through 7 editors, but I'm being told that it's still not perfect.
All right. Okay. Well, you have been promising on Twitter that you will bewitch India at the Jaipur Literature Festival.
have.
I think he has,
Yeah,
right?
because if you can have Shobadi in your audience and Chigozie and everyone else,
everyone is
So
there.
I have.
Yeah, I think we have. I think you have, and we here hope that you continue bewitching us. We hope you continue bewitching the world. We hope you continue writing. I do hope that there is a cabinet position for you in Nigeria in the near future. And ladies and gentlemen and everyone, here he is in person, Onyeka Nwelue. Sorry, I tried
right.
pronouncing it so many times.
You got it right.
I got it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
But let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Onyeka will be signing copies of his book at the author signing tent there. Come by, take selfies with him, say hello, ask him more questions, and read him. Thank you so much, Onyeka.